Good afternoon, students. So you've decided to choose drawing for one of your afternoon activities for Wednesday. Good choice. As your teacher, I've always talked about the idea of drawing being a skill that you learn. The old scenario that when you started school in preppy, you couldn't read and write, but you did it every day of your life for at least 2 to 3 years, and by the time you got to year 2, you were actually quite proficient at reading and writing. So drawing's the same, and I mentioned that to you when you were in year 7. And in year 7, we did a little activity based on using a grid to enlarge a self-portrait of yourself onto a larger piece of A3 paper. So you need to choose somebody that you admire from the sporting arena. It could be someone international, an Olympian, or a sport from overseas, or it could be something a bit more local. And what you need to do is find an image of them. It can be just of their face if you like, or it can actually be a photo of them in action. For example, a hockey player ready to swoop and move. So after you have decided on your hero or sporting figure that you want to use, print it off if you can. The image doesn't have to be very big, it could actually be quite small, but what you want to aim to do is to try to reproduce the drawing on A4 paper. So you may remember this little grid that we used back in year 7, and what we did is we placed the grid underneath the photo of your image of your face, and then we had a larger grid that we had under the A3 paper, and you had to, whatever was in the information that was in this first box here, you transferred into that box there. Second box, third box, third box. So this is just a little grid that I printed. I actually sourced this and found it on the internet. So you might want to, if you just Google in grids, there might be one that's a bit smaller for you that you want to use. A really good idea is, if you know how to use Photoshop, is to get your image that you've chosen and then put a layer and put the grid over the picture that you've chosen, and that makes it a lot easier. And then you'll also need the grid to go onto your paper. The best thing to use is a 2B pencil, 2B or 4B, because they have lots of graphite in them, and you can press really firmly and make it quite dark, but you press really softly and you get a really soft shadow. The other item that would be really helpful for you when you're trying to achieve realism with your portrait drawing is these little guys, and if you can remember what they're called a tortillon, okay? A smudging stump. And so the tortillons are used to, after you've made a mark, and I'm just going to draw a line, I'm actually not drawing anything in particular, but remember that using the tortillon allowed you to soften the edge, and that softening and removing of the edge is what creates realism. So basically that's what you need to do. You need to think back to when you were in year 7, and I'm hoping some of you still have those beautiful drawings, because I thought they were absolutely amazing. Look at those drawings, think back to that process, and create a little drawing. If you just want to do it, the image is this size, and then you produce your drawing exactly the same size, that's okay. This is just about exercising the right side of our brain and getting that moving, and by doing that, we're drawing what we see, what we know. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing your beautiful drawings. Thank you.